Tonight on KGW News, 2 wild police pursuits through the streets of Portland.
Moving in and out of traffic really fast.
As police trail a suspected car thief they say hit 110 miles an hour. And an allegedly stolen truck rams its way through a barricade. Plus, the frightening escape at an Oregon rodeo. The latest on those injured, with questions around whether rodeo leaders plan to make changes in the name of safety. And later, the wildlife encounter that a hiker admits caught her completely off guard.
He looked at me, and I forgot everything I was supposed to do.
We start tonight with a high-speed chase across Portland and Gresham that ended with the suspect hitting a patrol car. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko, and even after the crash, that suspect was not done running. Catherine Cook takes us through the pursuit that just kept going.
Peace and quiet shattered in Northeast Portland's Irvington neighborhood.
Suddenly, a swarm of police cars.
Neighbor Pat Clancy says everything took a sudden turn Friday evening when a police pursuit ended near his home at Southeast 16th and Stanton.
Roared into the neighborhood with lights flashing, and they blocked all the intersections around here, and they got out of their cars and they immediately told us to go inside and lock our doors.
Police were after the guy driving this stolen car. Court documents tell us officers used the car's GPS system to track it. From PPB's air support unit, you can see the start of the pursuit near 122nd and Powell. As the suspect turns into a parking lot and spots 2 police vehicles, he bolts.
He saw us, immediately took off, so the plane is yours.
Patrol cars back off, hoping to minimize danger to the public. So for the next several miles, it's just the suspect on the road. Police identified him as 24-year-old Dalton Williams of Beaverton.
Speeds are up to 65, 70 with no officers around him. Nobody's pushing this guy.
There were several close calls, like here on Northeast 162nd near Sandy.
Cutting off traffic, driving in the...
Is there anyone that
almost hit a bus. Now driving on the wrong side of the shoulder in oncoming traffic.
Williams then hops on I-84.
All right, yeah, he's 110 now. Moving in and out of traffic really fast.
Eventually, he ends up in the Irvington neighborhood.
Still westbound on Stanton. Speeds are still about 60 through this residential area.
Then, near Northeast 16th and Knott, he crashes head-on into a police vehicle.
Yep, just crashed into a car.
Williams gets out of the car and starts running. Pat watched some of the action through his window.
I saw the man who they were chasing go over our back fence into our neighbor's yard.
He says his neighbors were having a graduation party at the time.
He didn't stop, he just kept running through. So they didn't feel threatened, but they didn't like it much.
Seconds later, Pat says Williams ran out front where police were waiting.
When he went out, there were several police officers there, and he laid down and surrendered.
They took Williams into custody, much to neighbors' relief.
Unnerving. Not the sort of thing that we like to see in the neighborhood.
Unfortunately, police say during all of that, there were no known injuries. Williams was booked into the Multnomah County Jail on multiple charges, including burglary in the first degree and reckless driving. David.
Wow, appreciate the play-by-play. Thank you, Catherine. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, 1 person is in custody after authorities say they stole a semi-truck tractor that is minus the trailer, rammed 2 sheriff's vehicles, then led police on a chase across state lines with a complete shutdown of I-205 in Vancouver. The chase ended this morning in the northbound lanes between Mill Plain and State Route 500 with a standoff that lasted about an hour.
Well, it's about 11 o'clock. I walked over here from my house on the corner there.
Mostly feel bad, honestly, for the people sitting in the traffic.
Just a bunch of cops, traffic everywhere. Pretty unusual.
A deputy was injured when the truck plowed through the barricade, but they are expected to be okay. A second person, who authorities refer to as a passenger in the truck, was released without charges. More than 50 firefighters responded to flames that broke out in this downtown Portland apartment building tonight. Crews say the fire sparked in a room on the 3rd floor at the Fountain Apartments at Southwest 10th and Salmon As some fought the flames from outside, other crew members went in to evacuate residents. They found one person in a stairwell suffering from smoke inhalation. A firefighter gave them their breathing mask to get them outside safely. They were treated at the scene. No one else was hurt. The fire was out within about 20 minutes. No word yet on the cause. And Portland police have arrested the man they say shot and damaged city property at least 7 times over the last 2 weeks, including at least one red light camera. PBB had been searching for the driver of a dark-colored sedan. Officers say they found him today after several more shootings. They arrested 28-year-old Chess Griaval near a shooting scene at Southeast Division and 148th. He faces gun and vandalism charges. New tonight, this month marks 7 years since the murder of Brian Spaulding. The 36-year-old was found shot to death in 2017 in his Northeast Portland home. And this evening, as they do each and every year, his parents are making a plea that someone will help point police toward his killer. Alma McCarty's in the newsroom with their story. Alma?
Yeah, David, George and Carolyn Spaulding are still waiting, they say, for someone to do the right thing. From day one, investigators haven't had much to go on, and that's why the couple believes any little bit of information, however insignificant it may seem, could help them finally get closure after so many years of not knowing the why.
Year after year,
any little scrap of information would help. It wouldn't take much.
George and Carolyn Spaulding recount what they call the most difficult day of their lives.
It still remains unsolved, and that's why we're going on camera yet again.
Each year, hoping for a breakthrough in the murder of their son, Brian.
The bottom line for us is to get closure on the why factor. We know how, gunshot, and we know where. In his own room. We know when, 7 years ago, but we don't know why, and we don't know who.
On June 12, 2017, after he failed to show up for work, the Spauldings found their son dead inside his Northeast Portland home.
The detectives are very certain that it was no fault of Brian's.
He was a person who cared about other people, who lived his own life, tried to get along with everyone.
Somebody made a really rash and stupid decision and took someone who was very near and dear to us. I miss him every day.
7 years later, there's still the Crime Stoppers reward of $2,500 and an additional $20,000, money raised by friends and family. And the case is still considered active.
So we've got our fingers crossed, and in the meantime, we hang tight.
Longing for that breakthrough, closure and justice for their son, and for all those whose murders remain unsolved.
That one person that pulled the trigger knows. And it's reasonable to assume there's at least one other person that knew that person. Knows they did it, or at least suspects it. And I think it's the same case for a number of the other unsolved cases here in Portland.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Someone has the answers there. Well, tonight a dog is being credited for saving the day and potentially his owner's life after he crashed his vehicle down a 100-foot embankment in remote eastern Oregon. This is Brandon Garrett with his dog Blue in a picture before the crash. Garrett's now out of the hospital and recovering from his injuries, but a week ago, his truck was at the bottom of a ravine off a Forest Service road in Baker County. These are pictures of a rope rescue performed by first responders the next day. They got to him because of Blue, who was in the truck during the crash. You see, Blue made his way out of the wreckage, up the hill, and back to Garrett's camp in the woods where he alerted a friend. It turns out the camp was 4 miles from the crash site.
But I have never seen Blue. I saw a picture of him today. I imagine Blue was back at camp while we were doing the work helping Brandon out. But yeah, it's pretty amazing that he would go that far.
I'll say the sheriff says there were actually 4 dogs in the truck when it crashed. 2 were injured. Everyone survived. Wow. You're watching KGW News 11. Still ahead on this Monday night, startling moments at the rodeo as a bull jumps a fence and tears through the crowd. The update tonight on the animal and those who are injured. Plus, crossing paths with a bear and more than once, while a local hiker says she did all the wrong things.
And the weather's just right for a lot of people. It's still clear outside, 68 degrees right now. there is rain showing up on Doppler radar off the coast of Washington. I'll let you know what that'll mean here in Oregon for tomorrow morning. Then looking ahead, we're going to take a deep dive into Father's Day weekend weather.